Getting started, guys. Here we go. Here we go. Just getting started. Give us just a minute. Getting set up. Tonight's going to be our Get Spooky kind of night. All right, pop on in. Hello, love. Good to see you. Hello, everybody. Hop on in. Getting set up. Hi, Joms. Setting up our stuff now. Oh, wait. Oops, sorry about that, guys. There we go. Hi, everybody. Hi, 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 hi. October is still here every week. All right, ready to get going here. Okay, I think I've got our comments turned on. I see our folks watching. Hello, Sam. Hello, everybody. Okay, so tonight we're going to have some creepy riddles, some candy-coated hoaxes, fact or freaky, cursed books and deadly pages. Now that's kind of scary. Actually, that's really scary to me. Let me know if you can hear feedback that is too loud, please. How's that feedback? I could hear it pretty good there for a moment. Okay. Full disclosure, open notice, trigger warning. This can be kind of scary show. It is all for fun and entertainment purposes. Don't take anything too seriously. Have a good time and enjoy yourself. Okay. Just so that you know, we're getting ready to get started. Everybody ready? Hello, Liam. Good to see you. How are you this evening? Johnny, Bob, Sam, everyone, here we go. Ready to get started? Okay, first up, fact or freaky is what we're going to start with. So if you're all ready, let's see. Comments look like we're going good. Okay. I'll do the same as usual. Be reading our comments out loud as we go. Got a message in Messenger. Can't get on. Okay, hold on a second there. Sorry, let's see if we can help them get on. Looks like Bill is trying to get on. There we go. Okay, so fact or freaky? Are you ready? Here we go. Good evening, everybody. First up, I'm sorry. How was your week? Has it been a good week, a comfortable week? Has it been kind of crazy, just freaky? Yeah, yeah, I know. Fact or freaky? Freaky always. There's some good ones in here. So have a good week, everybody. So, Sam. All right. All right. That's an interesting week. Some weeks generally are. So let's just put the week behind us for a second and have some fun tonight. Here we go. We're going to start with fact or freaky. And these are some interesting things to know. I love Halloween time. Is everybody settling in? Do you have decorations out? What is your favorite latte? Do you have pumpkin spice latte going already? Do you like pumpkin? Okay. So we're going to get started. First up, the jack-o'-lantern origins. Jack-o'-lanterns were originally carved from turnips, not pumpkins. What do you think? I've heard that they were carved from turnips and potatoes, actually. It came from, yes, we'll learn more about this, won't we? Okay, so jack-o'-lanterns were originally carved from turnips, not pumpkins. Yes or no? Fact or freaky? What do you think? Fact or freaky? Smiling pumpkin. Thank you, Sam. So, what was it? Let me know. Think it might be true, Joms? Think it might be true? All right. All right, Sam. Maybe. Yes. That think so. All right. Anybody else? All right. So, it's fact. The fact is, in Ireland and Scotland, jack o' lanterns were originally carved, yes, from turnips and potatoes. Pumpkins became popular in the US and they became bigger and easier to carve. Right, that makes sense. If you listen to our Sunny Days podcast, just a shout out, selfless promotion. We had a story about jack o' lanterns, as a matter of fact, and all of their origin story and stuff. Check it out at the Sunny Days podcast. Comes out every Sunday and daily with little snippets. Okay, so again with the shameless advertising, here we go. Are you ready to get on to the next one? The next one is going to be about the deadly Halloween candy. The deadly Halloween candy. Excuse me. Every year, dozens of trick-or-treaters die from poisoned Halloween candy given out by strangers. Sure. That's that may be too real to be real, but that's just something. Fact or freaky? What do you think? Every year, dozens of trick-or-treaters die from poisoned Halloween candy given out by strangers. Yes or no? Fact or freaky? What do you think? Sam, freaky all the way around. Okay, what do you think? Fact or freaky, guys? I don't know. Sad to say yes. I'm sad to say yes, and that's what's sort of scary. It's just enough that it could be true. That could be true. Okay, here we come. Jumps. I know that was happening for a couple of years, a few decades ago, but I don't know if it's happening so much now. So I will say nay, freaky, not fact. And yes, a couple of years ago. I mean, it's a couple of decades ago. Yep. Okay, so fact or freaky? It is freaky. Despite the legend, there have been no verified cases of stranger killing kids with poison Halloween candy. It is a myth that has been fueled by fear. There was a time in the 70s and 80s where there was a real rash of this going on. But freaky, it says freaky, freaky, freaky. All right. Um, it's kind of crazy, isn't it? I mean, just to step aside for a second, that we could even think about it and to know that back in the 70s and 80s, I think we have a story coming up that is about back in the 70s and 80s and exactly all of this that was taking place. Freaky. Okay, so here we go. Let's move along. Why don't we? Michael Myers mask. Oh, Michael Myers. How many of you have seen Michael Myers? I know a couple of you are not horror scary fans, so I know you may not have seen this. But you see that top mask scary? That's the Michael Myers mask. That's Michael Myers. And below, you may know be more familiar with James T. Kirk of the USS Enterprise. Well, the original Michael Myers mask from Halloween was actually just a cheap Captain Kirk mask, spray painted white. Fact or freaky? What do you think? Jami, ha ha ha, that could be true, but I think it's not fact, it's freaky. Okay, okay. Fact or freaky? Fact or freaky? The original Michael Myers mask from Halloween was actually just a cheap, like spray painted deal of Captain Kirk. I was looking at them like, I don't know. What do you think? Is there like, it's the nose doesn't really look, it doesn't look, so I don't know. I think that is freaky. Okay. Gotcha, Dums. Sam, freaky. Okay. Bill, fact. Okay, here we go. The answer is Michael Myers mask is fact. The original mask was a Captain Kirk mask bought for $2, spray painted white with cutout eyes. Creepy bargain, right? So that was true. $2 mask, and they spray painted it, and the movies have gone wild ever since then. Crazy. Did you catch the cats in Kate? Got you. No, and I didn't say it the right word. I mean, I didn't do that. Now I caught it. The Captain Kirk version of, I think that is freaky. Would that be better? Okay, moving right along. No impressions. Okay, here we go. The ghost census. Okay, so in 2009, the US Census Bureau received hundreds of responses listing ghost as residents in vacant homes. So, if you have a ghost in your home, do you claim him on the Census Bureau? Fact or freaky? Please, 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 please. That was good. You like the Captain Critics. Okay, ghost census 2009. Yes or no? People did that. Fact or freaky? Fact or freaky? I don't know. Again, like if you've got a ghost and you have this thing going on, like you know he's there, she's there, it's there. and it knows you're there. It's like, wouldn't you count it? Would you count it? I don't know. Can you count a ghost? Okay, fact or freaky? Let me hear from you. Sam, freaky. Okay. The ghost census. What do you think? Was there a ghost census where people actually reported ghosts as residents living in their home? Um, Ha ha ha, Jimmy, that is funny. Then I have 6 residents. And are we allowed to claim them? Okay, so we've got some facts. We got a freaky. We got a fact. I would not put that past people. So yeah, right. I mean, if you can count them. I mean, seriously. Okay, so the answer lies in the freaky section. Freaky. Oh, I'm sorry. Freaky. While funny to imagine, no official census, including ghosts, as residents as of this time have been reported. This is just one trick. No treat. Okay, fair enough. But you got to admit, it's just true enough. It is just true enough. I mean, just enough of truth in the possibility that we had to consider that. Okay, moving right along. Happy haunting. Happy haunting. Hey, can I claim them as dependents on my taxes too? Right, right. I mean, if they're living there, you would think they could do more than just participate in their own sort of way. Happy hunting, haunted pumpkins. There's an old superstition that if your carved pumpkin burns out before midnight on Halloween, a spirit can slip inside your home. Fact or freaky? For all of those who have ghosts, know them, feel them, see them. What do you think? So it's an old superstition that if your carved pumpkin burns out before midnight on Halloween night, that's a doorway to the spirits. Fact or freaky? I say freaky no matter how you look at it. That's pretty freaky. But I mean, fact? Who knows with spirits, right? Jump straight up fact. Okay. All right. Very well. Very well. Sam, yes. Okay. Fact. Okay. 2 facts. Any freakies? 2 facts. Okay. All right. And regardless of the answer, we don't know what spirits. I mean, spirits can do their own thing, right? So, I mean, it can probably slip in a door crack, in a keyhole, through a window, just like blink, something. It could happen. Okay. So the answer is, haunted pumpkins. Freaky. Folklore, folklore says jack-o'-lanterns ward off spirits, but the burns out ghost enters idea is more superstition than actual history. So, like, who's going to report it? I mean, I think this could be open to a little bit more than just a single answer, I think. Is it my New Orleans is showing? No. Okay, so you never know. I mean, anything's possible, right? Anything's possible. Thank you, Chomi. Okay, here we go. Now check this out. Salem witch trials. So during the Salem witch trials, accused witches were burned at the stake. Now we've heard this so many times. Fact or freaky. And feel free to explore this one. This is interesting. Talking spirits and such. The New Orleans guy. Yeah. Well, no, just picking. Okay, so witches at the stake. How many stories have we heard about the witches burning at the stake? Salem witch trials, right? Fact or freaky? What do you think? How much do you know? We know there's talking spirits, I'm just saying. But anyway, about the Salem witch trials, what do you think? Fact or freaky? Fact or freaky? Fact, Sam. Fact, okay. Okay. True. We got truth. We got a couple of truths and facts. Bob, Sam. I mean, I've always thought that there was true, but now that you're bringing it up, This feels like a trick question, so I'll say freaky. Jummy says it is an interesting. It is. It is. It is. Okay, so the answer to this is freaky. Actually, in Salem, no one was burned at the stake. Most accused witches were hanged. One man was crushed with stones, and there might have been other reports of stonings. And the burnings actually happened in Europe, but in Salem, it was they were hanged. So interesting, freaky, right? Right. All right, moving along to curse books. It seems like my little program is jumping ahead of me, so bear with me if it's getting a little ahead of us. Um, yeah, freaky. Yes, sound freaky. I know, and I think the stories, because we've always heard the stories, and that's always been the picture, right? The witch is burning at the stake. So yeah, but we more likely hung them. Okay, so cursed books and deadly pages. This I found fascinating stuff. So if anything scares you, then warning. This is, it's some of it scary stuff. This is real stuff too, or so it's said to be. So it is. This is an entertainment and for fun show. So I got to put that out there. All right. So you ready for cursed books and deadly pages? Well, some say the most dangerous stories aren't the ones we tell, but the ones written down. Books are cursed. Books so cursed that simply opening them invites something you can't close again. So let's crack the spine of two of the most infamous. The first one, and again, sometimes I need to pronounce, work with me. It's the Codex Gigas is how I think that's said. It's also referred to as Devil's Bible. That's a little easier, but oh my, what a mouthful. Okay, so they call it the largest medieval manuscript in existence. It's over 3 feet tall and it weighs about 160 pounds. It was created in the 13th century. Legend says a monk sentenced to death promised to write a book containing all the world's knowledge in a single night to save his life. When he realized the task was impossible, he made a desperate bargain. He prayed, but not to God, to the devil himself. And the next morning, the book was finished, every page filled with every line perfect. And on one entire page, the full portrait of the devil laughing. Well, the book exists. You can see it today in the National Library of Sweden. But for centuries, people believed reading certain passages out loud could summon listeners that you didn't know. So, Lightning Room, would you turn these pages? Question. Would you be brave enough to turn the pages? Some claim the books whisper to them who held them. Others believe that they carry the restless spirit of the person whose flesh was used, tethered to the pages for eternity. So tell me, if a book bound in human skin set before you, would you crack it open out of curiosity, or would you lock it away forever? Life has been jumping ahead of me lately too. No worries. Thank you. Yes, it seems that it's a bit quicker than me. All right. Maybe knowledge really is power, right? But sometimes that power might come with a price. So would you turn the pages? Do not read from the book, from the movie, The Mummy. Yeah, I again, kind of like last week, I feel like, oh man, it sounds like such a way, but I ain't gonna touch it. It's not doing nothing to me. I'm not doing nothing to it. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, so yeah, Sam, no way. Put it back. Absolutely. Absolutely put it back. Please just keep it. Just keep it there. Just keep it there. Okay, yeah, just keep it there. We're gonna move past one real quickly here and go on to creepy riddles. So I'm actually ahead of it, I think, for a change. All right, let's see here. So moving along, we're gonna kind of jump on ahead here and move to creepy riddles. Riddles are always fun, no matter what. But this is kind of a fact or freaky, who am I, what am I kind of a kind of a thing. So get ready to enjoy. All right, getting started with some creepy riddles. Whoops, on time, then jumped ahead. Okay, here we go. The fear note. The fear note. I hum below, hearing a ghost in the air. I rattle your organs, water your eyes, raise your hair. Stand in my path, and dread appears from nowhere. Fact or freaky? What am I? Hmm. What do you think? Fact or freaky? I mean, fact or freaky, what am I? What fact or freaky, what is it? What is that? Humming below, hearing. Ghost in the air? What do you think? All right, here you go. A whisper. Oh, that's good. A whisper. That's a good guess. No. All right. You are. The answer is infrasound. Infrasound. Low frequency vibration linked to feelings of unease and haunted sensations in building. Fact. That's crazy. That's just crazy stuff right there. Okay. Onion. I like that answer too. I like that answer too. Okay. The fear note. So there's a little bit about it. Infrasound. It's a 19 hertz, I believe, is actually what the deal is on that low frequency vibration linked to feeling and unease. Tell me if I'm wrong about that. I think that was something that I had help finding out. Okay, the bell beneath. I waited in churchyards, iron tongue in the dirt. A cord at the wrist for those sleeping and hurt. Ring me in darkness if breath should return. Fact or freaky, what am I? What do you think? Fact or freaky, what am I? All right, here you go. Safety coffins. What am I? Safety coffins. Real historical coffins with bells, air tubes to prevent premature burial. Fact. Wow. Coffins that had yeah, I mean, that would be pretty horrible, right? I mean, I guess it ought to have a bell or something. I wonder, do they even do that? I guess they don't do that anymore. That's so interesting, right? That's fascinating. Scary, fascinating, I'll admit, but fascinating nonetheless. Okay, moving right along, ladies and gentlemen, a coffin bell, right? I know, a coffin bell. But I mean, a coffin bell, a coffin buzzer, I guess as long as you don't get stuck in there. I mean, accidentally or anything, on purpose, accidentally, anything. Okay, the puppet maker. Shall we move right along? Okay, the puppet maker. I whispered to tiny soldiers of the leaf. They climbed to the heights, clamped down in grief, and raised my chicken from inside their thief. Fact or freaky, what am I? Sounds freaky no matter what it is, actually. I whispered to tiny soldiers of the leaf. They climbed to the heights, clamped down in grief, and raised my children from inside their thief. Ooh, no clue. What am I? Sammy, confused. Hey! Smiley face, smiley face. All right. What am I? Okay, so I'm not going to type this word in either because it's so long, but I'm going to tell you the short. The answer to this is a zombie ant. It's a fungus. I'm not sure it's pronounced Ophipcorysibiosis, one of those, but it's a real parasite that hijacks ants' behavior to spread. Isn't that fascinating? Fact, by the way. Isn't that freaky fact? I mean, no matter how you look at it, that's just freaky fact. I know. Ant fungus. Yes. Yes. You saw it on a documentary. John saw it on a documentary about a month ago. And that's something like, wow, sometimes it just escapes the imagination a little bit. It just does. Okay, so let's move along, shall we? Let's go ahead and get started on our next little subject. Cool, right? It is kind of cool that an ant fungus and it behaves like that. I causes them to behave like that. Okay, the candy coated hoax. Remember the story or the question earlier about fact or fiction? Well, this is going to help us a little understand a little bit more about that exactly and what was going on. So, are you ready to settle into a little bit of a story about the candy coated houses? Okay, so every Halloween, parents warn their kids, right? Check your candy. Don't trust anything that looks open. Don't eat the homemade stuff. Watch out for strangers. Well, in the 1980s and 90s, Joms, you're right. For a couple of decades, this went on. Those warnings reached a fever pitch. Hospitals across the U.S. reported panicked parents rushing in with candy bags. It's poison, they cried. It's been laced with drugs, they would cry. Some swore needles had been inside. Others claimed they found pills tucked into candy bars. News stations ran with the stories, adding fuel to the fear. But here's the truth: almost every case turned out to be a hoax. Either the candy had been tampered with at home or the stories unraveled under investigation. So, but the fear, fear is sticky. Fear is tricky. Even now, every October, new rumors start. Marijuana gummies slipped into trick or treat bag, LSD licked candies, or candy things you stick on your tongue. Experts roll their eyes. No one's handling out pricey edibles to random kids for free, but the story keeps coming back year after year after year, like a horror movie sequel that just won't end. Lies, all lies. And maybe that's the real curse of the Halloween candy, right? Not the poison, not the razor blades, not the drugs, but the paranoia, the whisper that crawled from neighbor to neighbor, leaving parents second guessing every Snickers bar, lollipop. So, Lightning Room, what do you think? Would you dump out your bag and check every piece twice? Yes, by the way. Or would you take the risk and eat the candy in the dark? Wrappers wrinkled and hope that you only find scary inside. The only thing you find scary inside is the sugar rush. Mm. Definitely have always had the kids check the candy. Always check the candy, right? Ooh, marijuana gummies. Going trick or treating this year, are you? Are you? Is everybody going to go? Yeah, no. Find out what neighborhood that's in. I'm going to check in my hometown. You check, everybody check in your hometown. Free anybody's, everybody check. Okay. What a twisted sense of humor. Okay. We sure used to check the kid. Yes, absolutely. That's still a thing. I think you'd still check you just would. I don't know, just one of those behaviors that you don't ever change, but it is something. Then we started giving out little toys, and one year gave out coins. Oh, that's great, Johnny. Gave out little toys. There you go. And that now, how wrong can that be for Halloween? This trunk or treating is another thing that's been pretty good. This trunk or treating stuff has been pretty good. I mean, I know a lot of the kids don't. We don't. I know in our neighborhood, we don't like. We may not even see a kid, and if we do, we may only see a few, and that's it. I mean, it's really changed. We don't get that many visitors at all. All right, moving right along. Here we go. Haunted places and highways. Haunted places and highways. No, I wouldn't go on one, and no, I wouldn't travel on a road, but here we go. And the first up, you're going to be quite familiar with. I think we've all had a little bit of say about this one, actually. All right, here we go. Haunted places and highways. First up on our little journey, the Stanley Hotel. You'll all remember this one. High in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado sits a grand white hotel, the Stanley. On the outside, it looks elegant, even charming, but behind its doors, it's one of the most famous haunted hotels in America. It opened in 1909 in Freeland Oscar Stanley, the man behind Stanley Steamer Cars, by the way. He wanted a luxurious resort for the wealthy. But what he didn't know was that his masterpiece would one day become infamous, and not for its beauty, but for its ghost. Over the years, guests reported lights flickering, laughing echoing down empty hallways, and piano music drifting from ballroom late at night, even when no one was there. Room 217 became the most notorious of all. A housekeeper once nearly died there in a gas explosion. Since then, guests and even hotel staff swear the room is still occupied by her spirit, unpacking luggage, folding clothes, tidying up, even when no one asks. But perhaps the strangest night came in 1974 when a writer named Stephen King checked in. He and his wife were the only guests in the nearly empty hotel. That night, King dreamed his little boy was running down the halls, chased by a fire hose, and he woke up heart pounding with the skeleton of a story already in his head. The story of which would become The Shining. Excuse me here for a second. Now, since then, the Stanley has drawn ghost hunters, thrill seekers, and horror fans from around the world. Some claim to hear children giggling in the hallways, others see figures in mirrors. Paranormal teams stay at the hotel, say it's a hot spot of energy. And visitors who stay in room 217 often leave with stories they swear are true. So, Lightning Room, let me ask you this. If you had a chance, would you spend the night in the Stanley Hotel? Would you walk its halls after midnight knowing what others have seen and heard? Or would you check out before the ghosts check you out? Because in the Stanley Hotel, you know, every room probably has a story, but not all of them probably let you sleep. Joey says, I should have sent you the story of my Aunt Grace and Uncle Guy's house. Oh, send it. There's still 3 more lightning rooms to go. Please send the story, Johnny, of Aunt Grace and Uncle Guy's. Would look forward to telling it. Would absolutely look forward to telling it. Sammy says, no way. No way. I live in the country. We get 0. Hold on. Dollar store party favors, right? Lived in the country. We get 0. Curse word. No. No. Okay. No. Okay. Won't tell about it. Or is that answering the story? No, you would not. I would not check into the hotel. I'd be like, I'll pass. Sam says, she passed. Go try it for $1 million. Okay. $1 million it is. I wouldn't try it for $1 million. Well, let me think. No, I don't think so. Because what good is it if I'm scared to death? Then what good is $1 million going to do me if I'm scared to death? Right? Nah, I'd say no. I just wouldn't. There's no sense in messing with something you don't have to mess with. Okay. Tommy, would you say is that a no? Would you stay at the Stanley? Would you stay at the Stanley? Okay, moving along. Moving along. Okay, The Vanishing Hitchhiker. Here's another one of those crazy little stories. Haunted places and highways, and we're talking about the vanishing hitchhiker. Well, let me tell you a story that's been told on highways all over the world. A story that drivers swear is real. They swear the story is real, and it always begins the same way. A lone driver, late at night, cruising down a quiet, empty road. The headlights catch a figure. A young woman, pale, shivering, dressed in white. She's standing on side the road, thumb out, asking for a ride. The driver pulls over. She thanks them softly, climbs into the back seat. Sometimes wrapping a scarf around her shoulder, sometimes carrying a small book or a purse. She gives an address, a place that's not very far away. But when they reach the destination, every time when they reach the destination, the passenger is gone, vanished without a sound. Wouldn't that be kind of freaky? Wow. Okay, so the drivers are confused. They get shaken, knocks on the door of the house just to check out what's going on. An elderly person answers, and here's the part that chills every bone. They explained that the woman who matched that description died years ago, sometimes in a car crash, sometime on the very road, sometimes while trying to make it home. And yet people keep seeing her, taking her in, and watching her vanish before their eyes. Wow. And mind you, the story is always the same, reported by a variety of different people. They all act the same way, do the same thing, and follow through with it. Most people go knock on the door to find out what's going on. Well, reports of this tale, as I said, come in from all over the United States, Mexico, the UK, Asia, always the same details. It's always a lonely stretch of road, a pale figure asking for help, eerie silence when they disappear. So Lightning Room, what is she? What is she? A restless spirit who's doomed to wander? A slip in time, a memory replaying itself again and again? Or just a lonely echo of someone who never made it home? So tell me this, if you were driving alone on a dark road and a pale stranger lifted their thumb for a ride, would you stop? Would you stop? A lonely road, kind of scary, stranger, pale figure, female, dressed in white. Would you keep driving and always wonder what might have happened if you did? Darling, I'd keep driving. I would keep driving. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to mess anybody. I don't want to like leave anybody stranded or anything. But if it looks like, because from what everybody, well, I don't know, everybody just says it's a pale figure. So, I mean, and they all seem to believe it because why else would they pick her up? Jum says, I believe I've seen my fair share of spirits. All right. They still freak me out. Yes. Again, curse word. No. Yeah. No. Wouldn't. Me either. Sammy thinks she would. She just would. Just because if she didn't know, how can you tell exactly? That would be my thing. If I, first of all, on a creepy, scary road anyway, I'm probably not going to pick anybody up. I'm by myself. I'm on a road by myself. I'm probably just not. I'm just not that. I'm not that brave of a person. Okay, guys, we are about coming to the end of our night, but we've got one last scary story for you. And this is another one of those disclosure. It's a true story. It's a scary story. The stories I find most scary are the ones that are true. And so we're going to end with this one tonight. Sit back. I'll do the reading. I'll put it up on screen in case you want to follow along. Ready for our last story of the night? This one is called The Vilaka Axe Murders. Warning, scary story. This is just for fun and entertainment purposes. Although I might get a little scary right now, but it's putting it out there. Okay, so It was June the 9th, 1912, in the small town of Viacott, Iowa. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. The Moore family had just come from church. Josiah and Sarah Moore tucked their 4 children into bed, while 2 neighbor girls, Lena and Ina Stillinger, stayed the night as guests. The little white house was on the corner, glowed warm with lamplight. 8 people in all drifted off to sleep. But sometime after midnight, something else came inside. The next morning, the house was silent. Neighbors grew kind of uneasy. No one had come out. No chores had been done. No voices at play. So they entered. And what they found has haunted that town ever since. Every single person in the home had been murdered, bludgeoned with an axe. The weapon was left leaning against the wall, as if the killer had calmly placed it there when his work was, or when their work was done. Every person in the house. That wasn't the strangest part. Curtains had been drawn tight across every window, every mirror covered with a cloth, as if to hide something from being seen. The clocks inside, they were all set and had all been stopped at the same time. And on the bed of one little girl, the axe wound told a story too brutal even to repeat out loud. Whoever entered that house took their time. Investigators later discovered that the killer had stayed long enough to cook breakfast in the kitchen. The food was left untouched on the table. And then they vanished. The killer was never found. No one was ever charged. And to this day, the Villa Ka ex-murder house still stands. Visitors say if you stay the night, you'll hear footsteps upstairs. Doors creak open by themselves, and some swear they've heard children's laughter and crying drifting through the halls. Paranormal teams call it one of the most haunted places in America. Dang, I believe that. The truest or the most scary. Cover your eyes and ears. It's sort of freaky scary, isn't it? So I think I know the answer to this, but the question, was it just the memory of the crime that won't fade, or did the souls actually never leave? And if you ever visit that little white house in Iowa, would you dare to stay the night? I would never stay the night. I wouldn't even think about staying the night. It is a terrible, I tell you, do I need to find friendlier stories? It is kind of like they are the scariest stories, or the truest, or the true stories. Those are the scariest stories, the ones that don't have an explanation, that they didn't find somebody, that something didn't happen. I mean, that what happened, that it won't ever happen again. Oh, it's scary stuff. Okay, about to the end of our evening. I hope you enjoyed our fun little trivia. I hope you enjoyed our scary stories. Do send me anything that you've got, any ideas that you might want to stick to for the next time, something you might want to see. Don't forget to take a half a moment to like and to share and to subscribe, because that's always the fun stuff. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you had a good time. I hope you have a super great weekend. And every week this month is going to be about Halloween chums. It is, I know. I'm sorry. I'm not even going. Okay, don't even see it. My uncle guy got beaten up by something not there, broke his nose. Holy cannoli. That's scary. They moved to Conroe after that. House still stands today in Abernathy, still haunted. Oh my gosh, I've got to look this up and see if they put some stuff out there about that. That is that kind of stuff is so freaky. And that's the scariest kind of, I don't care how many scary stories you tell. The scariest ones are the ones that like are true. I mean, okay, everybody, thank you so much for being here. I love you bunches. I will send the story. Good. I will be looking forward to it. It will be in next week's The Lightning Room Live. It's good to see you all here. Sam, Bill, Bob, Johnny. Good to have everybody here. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to stop our screen now. As always, peace and love. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week with another episode of the Halloween edition of the Lightning Room. Join us if you dare. As you can see, we don't play around. It gets a little scary around here. Bye, guys. Love you. Hold on. I got grabbed by nothing in the barn. Scary stuff to be continued. Love you guys. Peace.